Welcome to Sleepy Science. This video is designed for your subconscious, not for you. If you stay, it will start working even while you are distracted. Your subconscious decides when you relax. It decides when thoughts slow down. It decides when sleep begins. Most people never hear facts made for this part of the mind. They hear ideas meant to be understood. This is different. Everything you are about to hear passes under attention. It does not need focus. It does not need effort. If you listen long enough, your body will react before your thoughts do. Breathing will change. Awareness will thin out. And if this video feels difficult to turn off, subscribe to Sleepy Science because that is your subconscious responding, not coincidence. Most of what you do begins before you become aware of it. And that idea feels uncomfortable only because it is rarely noticed. Your body shifts its weight before you decide to move. Your eyes change focus before you realize they were tired. Your breathing adjusts its depth while your thoughts are still busy elsewhere, unaware that anything has changed. This does not happen by accident. There is something working quietly underneath your awareness, something that does not wait for instructions or explanations. It does not ask permission, and it does not introduce itself. It simply acts. The strange part is not that these actions happen automatically. The strange part is how quickly the mind steps in afterward to claim ownership. A thought appears and says, "I chose that," even though the choice was already made. There is always a small delay between action and awareness. It is brief, almost invisible, but it never disappears. Movement happens first. Awareness follows behind, trying to catch up. Most people move through their entire lives without noticing this gap. It is too short to feel dramatic, yet too constant to ignore once seen. Right now, as you listen, your body is already adjusting itself in small ways. Muscles soften or tighten. Breathing becomes slightly slower or slightly deeper. Your posture changes without any clear decision being made. You did not plan these changes. You were not asked about them. They happened anyway. This hidden operator does not communicate with words. It works through timing, sensation, and prediction. It notices patterns before your thoughts do and responds to them instantly. By the time your mind forms an explanation, the action has already passed. This is why you sometimes notice yourself reaching for something without knowing why. Your hand moves, and only afterward does the reason appear. The explanation feels real, but it is often created after the fact, like a story written to make sense of something that already occurred. The mind prefers clear cause and effect. It wants to believe it is leading, so it fills in the blanks. It says you moved because you were uncomfortable. It says you checked the phone because you were curious. It says you shifted because you were tired. But these reasons arrive late, trailing behind the action they claim to explain. The hidden operator does not justify itself. It does not need to. It works faster than thought, and because of that, it rarely gets questioned. If you slow down enough, you can begin to feel the delay. It appears as a brief moment of uncertainty, a soft pause where something has already happened but has not yet been named. In that moment, the body has moved, but the story has not caught up. This gap is small, but it shapes everything. It decides what feels comfortable before comfort is defined. It chooses what feels familiar before recognition forms. It prepares the body for rest or alertness long before the mind notices the change. You can see this clearly when you are tired. Your reactions slow, but your body keeps adjusting. It lowers effort. It simplifies movement. It conserves energy without announcing its plan. Sleep does not begin with a decision. It begins with a series of quiet adjustments that happen before you agree to them. Even now, The hidden operator is working ahead of your attention. It is measuring how still you are. It is sensing how safe the environment feels. It is preparing for what comes next without asking what you want. The mind often believes it is choosing when to relax. In reality, relaxation begins first, and awareness arrives later to notice it. This is why trying to force rest often fails. Control adds noise. The hidden operator responds better when attention fades. This operator has been running your body since before you had language. Long before you could explain anything, it was already adjusting, learning, and predicting. It learned rhythm before meaning. It learned safety before logic. It learned when to slow down without needing permission. You do not feel it working because it does not create thoughts. It creates readiness. It prepares the body to move, to stop, to rest, or to remain still. Thought only reports what has already been arranged. If you pay close attention, you may notice that awareness always feels slightly late. You realize you were drifting only after you drift. You notice silence only after thoughts have already thinned out. You recognize stillness only after it has settled in. That delay never closes. It cannot be removed. It is built into how consciousness works. Right now, you are inside that delay. Something in you is already responding to what comes next, even though your mind has not yet formed the words for it. Even before you think you have decided, something else has already started. A motion, a lean, a tiny pull toward one side happens without your permission. It is not a feeling exactly, nor is it something you notice right away. It waits, quiet, almost invisible, until your mind claims it as a choice. Imagine standing in front of two paths. One path calls, the other seems safer. You think you are deciding, but the real shaping has already begun. Small recognitions, patterns you do not name, pull you toward one. Your mind translates these signals into reasoning, but the recognition came first, unseen and unnoticed. It is the part of you that notices shapes in the air before your eyes fully focus. It is the movement of your hand toward a cup before you even know you are thirsty. Every decision is layered. The first layer is automatic, almost mechanical. Your body reacts. Your attention follows. Then a faint signal rises. It is not a thought. It is not emotion. It is a tiny alignment of your being toward one option, as if the world itself has leaned in a certain direction and you are following without knowing it. This hidden shaping is always present. When you walk down a familiar street, your steps adjust without your instruction. When you reach for your phone, your hand moves before the question enters your mind. These movements are early maps of choice, traces of what is about to become conscious. They are subtle, precise, and endless. The mind will catch up, explain, justify, even celebrate what was already done. It will call it free choice. But the truth is quieter, stranger. The choice was formed before the claim of choice appeared. Even attention itself is a form of early selection. Your eyes move across a page, scanning, landing on a word, a line, a shape. The mind might think, I chose to look here. But the muscles in your eyes, the reflexes shaped by past moments, already guided the gaze. What feels like your intention is only the final frame of a process that began long before. Awareness is a curtain, falling slowly on a scene already set. You watch the play, thinking you directed it, unaware that it started without you. The body also communicates in hints that the conscious mind translates into preference. A tilt of the head, a shift of weight, a pause before stepping, all whisper toward the paths that will be chosen. They are tiny nudges from the hidden operator beneath thought. These nudges shape attraction and avoidance, not with logic, not with reason, but with recognition. Something in your system knows the pattern of the world. Something in your being notes what fits, What is familiar, what aligns. You call it liking. You call it taste. You call it preference. But it is simpler and deeper than choice. It is recognition forming before thought. Even when faced with what feels like new, the same hidden shaping occurs. Your mind creates connections before you name them. It detects echoes of past encounters, silent patterns that pull toward one option and away from another. You feel drawn to something without knowing why. The attraction seems sudden, but it is decades old, built from fragments of experience you barely remember. The subconscious gathers, sifts, and weighs before the conscious mind ever whispers. You sense a pull. You sense a direction. You think you decided, but the architecture of choice was already built. This shaping is not always simple or clean. Conflicts arise. Signals pull in different ways. One part of the body leans one way, the eyes glance another. Your mind interprets, debates, hesitates. Awareness is slow. Recognition is fast. One option feels better without reason. Another calls with curiosity. The tension is not conscious. It happens in the background, beneath the clarity of thought, and only later appears as uncertainty. What seems like indecision is often the mind catching up with itself, sorting the tracks that were already laid by invisible forces. Even memories are not exempt. The past is folded into the present in ways we cannot name. When a choice feels familiar, when it feels right, it is because recognition preceded reasoning. Your body, your senses, your hidden systems are scanning the past for echoes that match the now. You feel certain without knowing why. You call it intuition, but it is something deeper. It is your internal mapping system, calculating without awareness, building the bridge between what was and what will be chosen. There is a rhythm to this shaping. Recognition flows, attention follows, thought narrates. You are at the edge of the flow, claiming authority after the fact. This rhythm repeats endlessly in every small decision, in every glance, in every movement. The hidden operator is tireless. It does not pause, it does not sleep. It is present when you walk, when you sit, when you speak. Every preference, every attraction, every subtle avoidance carries its signature. It shapes your day, your choices, your interactions. Yet you do not see it. You only see the finished frame. Even your likes are quiet acknowledgments of recognition. You feel drawn to a color, a shape, a sound. You feel pulled toward a person, a place, a habit. These pulls are not evaluated consciously. They are pre-existing responses, formed before the conscious claim. When you name them as preference, it is the mind translating recognition into language. The subconscious is already ahead, already forming the map, already shaping the path. You think you are deciding. In truth, you are only arriving at a conclusion already set in motion. This hidden shaping does not stop with simple actions. It governs complex patterns of thought. When you make plans, when you weigh possibilities, when you imagine futures, the same hidden processes are active. Recognition of past patterns, subtle cues from the environment, echoes of memory, and alignment of the body all converge before reasoning catches up. Your mind weaves the story of choice after the unseen threads are in place. You feel clever. You feel deliberate. But the act of formation occurred beneath the surface, invisible, silent, continuous. Even your curiosity is shaped this way. The questions you feel drawn to, the mysteries you pursue, the paths of thought you wander into, all begin in recognition before choice. Something inside signals a thread worth following. You feel interest, fascination, even longing. Your mind narrates the attraction. Your awareness celebrates the journey. But the subconscious has already pointed the way. It nudged your attention, opened the door, and guided your gaze. You are walking a path that was sketched before you even knew it existed. In this realization lies a strange tension. You are both the actor and the audience. You move, you choose, you feel, you reason. Yet a quiet force works beneath, shaping without effort, forming without naming, recognizing without acknowledgement. The feeling of preference, the act of liking, the choice you claim, all emerge after the hidden operator has already done its work. Your awareness is a curtain, falling slowly on a stage where recognition and shaping have already played the first act. And as you begin to notice this, as you sense the delay between formation and awareness, you begin to feel your place inside the process. You are not outside observing. You are inside, moving with the shaping, guided by signals you cannot name, following paths that already exist, stepping along a rhythm you barely hear. The taste of preference, the pull of attraction, the subtle lean toward one option or another, all become visible only after they arrive in consciousness. And in that pause, in that unseen space between formation and claim, you find the strange, quiet truth. Choice is not what it seems, recognition is, and you are part of it even when you do not know it. The world unfolds around you in patterns your mind will only later describe. You are caught in the weave. You are inside the shaping. You move, you decide, you act, but always after the first pulse of recognition. Every like is a whisper from the hidden operator. Every step is already plotted before awareness applauds. And as you sense it, the mysterious structure beneath all preference and choice begins to feel like a story written in secret, and you are living it without ever reading the first line. Memory is not always a picture or a sentence. Sometimes it is a pulse in your body, a tension in your muscles, a sense that something is familiar before you can name it. You walk into a room and it feels known. Not because you have been there, but because some quiet signal in you recognizes patterns. The subconscious keeps track of these signals, storing them in ways that the conscious mind cannot read. It remembers what words cannot capture. It records what images cannot show. And yet, you feel it in tiny moments of familiarity, like a whisper brushing against thought. Even movement carries memory. Your body can remember how to balance on a beam, how to ride a bike, how to type without looking at the keys. You do not call these memories up with effort. They emerge naturally, guided by patterns that exist beneath thought. The mind may marvel at the skill, but the memory itself never needed your approval. It is stored in muscles, in joints, in the alignment of bones. It waits silently until the moment arises, then unfolds perfectly. Recognition comes before understanding. You feel it first, then name it. There are moments that feel stranger than that. You walk down a street you have never seen, yet a turn or a corner feels familiar. You reach for a word or an idea you have never thought before, yet it comes easily, as if it was always there. The subconscious operates in a layer where time is less linear. It weaves experiences into patterns that do not rely on dates or labels. It does not need chronology to remember. What feels like déjà vu may be a glimpse of that system at work, revealing recognition without explanation. You feel a resonance, a subtle confirmation, as if the moment was stored before it arrived. Even sensations carry memory. A scent can trigger a feeling you cannot place. A sound can make your chest tighten or relax before you know why. These signals are not recalled consciously. They are triggered automatically by patterns your body knows. Recognition does not need words. Familiarity does not need images. The subconscious archives the flow of experiences, registering textures, rhythms, and alignments, and then calls them forward when a match arises. You experience them as intuition, as premonition, as a sense of already known. Sometimes it feels as though the body remembers futures it has not yet lived. You prepare for a movement before you even decide to make it. You sense danger or comfort in a place you have never been. The subconscious picks up echoes of patterns and aligns you with them. It does not think in sequences of cause and effect. It thinks in possibilities, in probabilities, in what is most aligned with what it already knows. You act and feel, but the memory of alignment came first. Your conscious mind is always late to the party, arriving after the subconscious has already orchestrated the scene. Even when you try to remember consciously, you are often guided by these hidden stores. You search for a fact, a name, a place, and the body nudges you toward the answer. Your muscles, your gaze, your posture shift imperceptibly as recognition forms. You feel a pull before awareness catches up. Sometimes you reach the wrong answer, sometimes the right one, but the process is invisible. The subconscious is always ahead, scanning, recording, matching, and guiding without applause or recognition. Memory is not a library. It is a network, silent and ceaseless, always forming, always connecting. Even feelings are stored in ways we cannot describe. You may like or dislike something without knowing why. Attraction, repulsion, curiosity, hesitation, they are all cataloged before the mind labels them. You encounter patterns and resonate with them without words. The body remembers textures, tones, alignments, and forms, and calls them forward as recognition. It is a type of memory that speaks silently, that acts before consciousness enters, and that lingers after conscious thought has moved on. You sense it, and you call it instinct, intuition, or taste, but it is memory that never needed recall. There is a subtle magic in this system. You may feel that your mind has forgotten, that a moment is lost forever, yet the body and the subconscious have recorded it. In a gesture, a glance, a movement, the past can return without explanation. A phrase you never said may resurface in your rhythm. A path you never walked may feel familiar under your steps. Recognition flows from archives that never store in names or images, only in patterns, alignments, and echoes. You experience them as déjà vu, or the unnameable sense of already felt. Even when the mind insists on linearity, the subconscious ignores it. It sees connections across time, echoes across experiences, and traces patterns before the conscious mind can identify them. You feel familiarity in a stranger's face, a rhythm in a song you never heard, a tension in a situation that has never happened to you. These are not mistakes of memory. They are signals from a system that records without explanation, that aligns without instruction, that prepares without permission. Recognition precedes understanding. Memory precedes recall. The body remembers what the mind has not yet seen. Even imagination relies on this hidden archive. When you picture a scene, when you invent a story, when you solve a problem in your head, you are drawing from memory that you cannot name. The subconscious assembles fragments, patterns, and sensations into forms that the conscious mind perceives as creation. You feel originality, but it is built from recognition, not invention. You pull from experiences you may not even know you had. The system is both storage and shaping. It is silent, hidden, unacknowledged, yet it underpins every thought and feeling that surfaces. Even time itself behaves strangely inside this memory. What is past, present, or future is less important than alignment. You sense a pull towards something before it arrives. You respond to situations that have not yet happened. You feel déjà vu as if your body remembers a future echo. The system records experiences, fragments, and probabilities in a way that allows you to act ahead of awareness. Recognition occurs first. Conscious recall is always second. Memory does not need a record to exist. It only needs the pattern to form. Even learning is silent and invisible. You may practice, repeat, observe, and improve, yet the body and subconscious record far more than you realize. Tiny gestures, subtle corrections, imperceptible alignments, all are stored. You call them habits, but they are memory without recall. You do not summon them intentionally. They arise naturally, effortlessly, precisely, because the system remembers before you think. Each repetition adds layers, each echo strengthens recognition, each pattern creates preparation that precedes understanding. Even your sense of familiarity with people is part of this system. You recognize faces, voices, movements, gestures, tones, and rhythms before conscious thought identifies them. You feel drawn, cautious, confident, hesitant, all before you name the reason. Recognition is memory acting ahead of explanation. You feel it as intuition, yet it is deeply anchored in silent archives of experience that never need recall. The subconscious is always present, recording endlessly, shaping endlessly, guiding endlessly, long before the conscious mind joins the scene. Even dreams are influenced by these hidden records. When you sleep, fragments of experience, patterns, and sensations resurface in symbolic, silent ways. You may encounter events you have not lived, yet they feel familiar. You may see places, faces, or sequences that resonate with something you cannot name. Memory without recall weaves these fragments into experience. You live it while unconscious. You awaken puzzled. You call it imagination or prophecy. But the subconscious remembers, aligns, and signals without words, without images, and without explanation. Even moments of sudden insight rely on this system. You feel the answer emerge fully formed. You did not calculate it. You did not reason it out. Recognition surfaced first. Memory that never needed recall provided the threads. Conscious thought interprets later. The body, the subconscious, and the hidden network of alignment did the work first, quietly, invisibly, perfectly. You are simply the receiver of the echo. And as you begin to notice this, you start to feel the strange truth. Memory is not always in the mind. It lives in your body, your alignment, your attention, your recognition. It forms patterns that speak before thought. It guides movements, attraction, and avoidance before awareness arrives. It recognizes futures before they exist. And you are inside it, moving with it, feeling it, guided by it, even when you do not know how. Even when you are not paying attention, your mind is watching. Small details, repeated motions, tiny rhythms, and the shape of the world around you begin to leave traces. They are invisible threads weaving beneath awareness. You may not notice, but your subconscious is recording, connecting, predicting. It sees patterns in the way light falls across a room, in the timing of footsteps on a street, in the pauses between words in a conversation. These repetitions, subtle and quiet, are shaping expectations before you even know they exist. Your environment whispers constantly. A room with low ceilings and dim light signals calmness without naming it. A crowded street with sudden noises teaches caution without a single instruction. Your subconscious absorbs these lessons effortlessly. It records probabilities, tendencies, rhythms. You call it familiarity. You call it intuition. You call it just knowing. But it is pattern forming at the edges of perception, long before conscious thought registers it. Each repeated signal strengthens the architecture of expectation. Even habits are not the beginning. They are only the visible tip of a system that has been quietly forming in the background for years. Long before you pick up a cup of coffee automatically, before you reach for your phone in the same way every morning, the pattern has been laid. Your body has recorded the sequence. Your mind has predicted the outcome. And the environment has trained you through repetition, silently, invisibly, continuously. Attention is optional. The pattern runs whether you are aware or not. Even sounds carry invisible instructions. A familiar tone in a song can guide mood without words. A rhythm of traffic, the hum of a fridge, a recurring phrase in a conversation. These shapes train the subconscious to expect, to anticipate, to align. Your mind may think it reacts, but it is often responding to a pattern it recognized long before you named it. Repetition does not shout. It whispers, layering the invisible architecture of expectation until it becomes nearly automatic. You follow without realizing. You adjust without noticing. The system is always running. Even gestures and postures contribute to the hidden map. You sit, you lean, you walk, and your body records tiny corrections and balances. Each repetition teaches the system what to expect next. Each alignment becomes a reference for the next moment. You may not notice the learning, but your movements and attention follow the track laid by countless repetitions. The environment is your teacher. It molds, trains, and predicts long before the mind decides. You live within its silent curriculum. Even choices are shaped by these silent patterns. You may think you are choosing freely, but the environment has already nudged you. The angle of light, the sound of voices, the spacing of objects, these all form probabilities in the subconscious. Your attention follows the path. You feel pulled, inclined, or hesitant without understanding why. The repeated signals, invisible and silent, have been wiring expectation for years. Your conscious thought interprets after the pattern has already done its work. You act, but the groundwork existed long before. Even moments of creativity emerge from repetition. Patterns are not just rules, they are frameworks. When you invent, imagine, or solve a problem, you draw from the silent structures your mind has already absorbed. Fragments of rhythm, shapes, sounds, and movements converge. You may feel originality, but it is built upon repetitions you never consciously noticed. Each recognition, each alignment, each invisible pulse of expectation becomes part of the hidden map guiding creation. You are guided by something you cannot name, yet you feel its influence everywhere. Even attention is trained by repetition. You notice some things and ignore others without realizing why. Your mind has learned the rhythm of focus. Patterns form, fade, and reappear, shaping what captures thought and what slips by unnoticed. A familiar gesture draws notice. An unexpected sound startles. The environment, with quiet insistence, teaches the mind what to expect. Attention moves like a shadow across the patterns that have already been built. Awareness is late to the dance. Recognition comes first. Even silence is instructive. The pause between events, the empty space in a room, the gaps in speech, they all create expectation. Your subconscious feels these pauses and predicts what will come next. The rhythm of repetition does not need sound, words, or action. It is everywhere. Your body responds before awareness names the response. Expectation forms without consent. The system is invisible, tireless, continuous. You inhabit it, guided by a map you cannot see. Even memory itself is shaped by repetition. Experiences repeat, subtly or overtly, and the patterns they create form a hidden structure. When something recurs, your body and mind anticipate, align, and respond before thought arrives. Recognition becomes automatic. Expectation solidifies. You feel familiarity, attraction, or hesitation, but the signal was already in place long before you named it. Repetition is the silent architect of your perception, constructing patterns that run independently of attention. Even social interactions are molded by invisible patterns. The way people move, speak, glance, and pause creates rhythms you sense without naming. You respond to these rhythms with subtle shifts in posture, tone, and gaze. Your mind interprets afterward. Recognition has already shaped behavior. The repeated patterns of interactions teach the subconscious what to expect, how to react, and when to adjust. You navigate a world of unseen structures, all formed before your conscious mind catches up. Even emotional responses follow repetition. You may feel calm, tense, excited, or hesitant without understanding why. The environment has trained the subconscious. Past encounters, gestures, tones, and rhythms accumulate, forming expectations of how things will unfold. The mind thinks it decides, but the response often emerges from patterns recorded silently, invisibly, long before the situation appears. You are guided by a memory of repetition, even when the conscious mind believes it acts independently. Even the passage of time contributes to pattern building. Days repeat, months cycle, years echo. The rhythms of sunlight, temperature, and activity shape expectation. Your subconscious aligns with these patterns effortlessly. You move, act, and feel in tune with a structure you do not consciously observe. Each repetition reinforces the architecture, strengthening recognition and prediction. Attention may wander, but the patterns run steadily, silently, ceaselessly. The system never sleeps. Even learning new skills relies on hidden repetition. At first, movements are clumsy, choices uncertain. Yet with each trial, each gesture, each attempt, the subconscious records subtle signals. Tiny corrections, micro adjustments, and small alignments are stored in invisible networks. Before consciousness fully understands, the system guides motion. You perform without thinking, anticipate without reasoning, and recognize without naming. Expectation has been quietly rehearsed long before awareness enters the scene. Even moments of insight depend on these silent structures. Patterns formed through repetition create the foundation for sudden understanding. You may feel a solution appear fully formed. You may feel an idea arrive without effort. It is not magic. It is the invisible work of the subconscious, rehearsing possibilities through repetition, silently preparing, quietly predicting. Recognition precedes awareness. Expectation guides perception. The pattern builder runs continuously, unseen and tireless. Even when you pause, the patterns continue. The system does not need attention to operate. It senses alignment, builds expectation, and records probability without applause or recognition. You think action depends on focus, but the hidden architecture runs regardless. It moves beneath, forms beneath, guides beneath. You inhabit a world where repetition quietly shapes thought, action, and perception, long before conscious awareness arrives to interpret. Even ordinary experiences contribute to the unseen map. A repeated sound, a recurring gesture, the rhythm of steps, the layout of spaces, all are lessons recorded in silence. They become predictions, shaping expectation, aligning movement, and guiding attention. Recognition precedes thought. Expectation precedes action. The system is invisible, tireless, continuous, quietly orchestrating life without permission or notice. You follow, unaware of the structure beneath, guided by the silent pattern builder that runs even when attention stops. Time moves differently inside the subconscious. It does not follow the steady tick of a clock or the order of a calendar. Past, present, and future fold together in ways that are invisible to the conscious mind. A memory from years ago can appear instantly in response to a sound, a scent, or a gesture. You react before you understand why. The system is not thinking in sequences. It is aligning patterns, predicting outcomes, and responding as if all moments exist at once. Awareness feels late because it always is. Even the simplest reactions carry echoes of the past. You flinch at a sudden sound. You pause before stepping on uneven ground. You feel hesitation or caution in moments that seem ordinary. Yet these responses are shaped by experiences that may be decades old. The subconscious does not measure distance in years. It measures resonance, similarity, and probability. A present situation is linked to countless past patterns instantly, and the body and mind respond without waiting for conscious permission. Even perception itself is colored by this distorted time. When you see a face, a gesture, or a shape, recognition arrives before understanding. Your mind says, "I know this," but the knowledge is not bound to linear memory. It comes from layers of experience stacked invisibly, folded together, and ready to respond. The present is only a window, a small frame on a much larger map that exists outside the flow of seconds. The subconscious operates in patterns that stretch across time, making you feel familiarity, anticipation, or instinct long before the conscious mind names it. Even emotions emerge from layers that do not follow sequence. You may feel sudden joy, fear, or sadness without a clear reason. These are not random. They are the responses of a system that constantly scans past experiences, aligns with present signals, and predicts future outcomes. Time is irrelevant. Cause and effect are invisible. Your body feels the pull of pattern, the echo of memory, and the hint of possibility all at once. Awareness interprets afterward, but the signal arrived before the thought. Even learning bends to this invisible time. You may notice skills improving, insights arriving, or understanding deepening in ways that feel immediate. You practiced yesterday, yet your mind seems to know today. The subconscious has absorbed repetitions, aligned patterns, and recorded outcomes. It does not store them in chronological order. It stores them in relation to probability and resonance. When needed, the system retrieves, applies, and guides instantly. What feels like sudden improvement is the unfolding of knowledge that already existed, timelessly, beneath awareness. Even imagination draws from this temporal flexibility. When you picture possibilities, invent stories, or explore what-if scenarios, the subconscious pulls fragments from past experiences, present cues, and anticipated outcomes. It blends them seamlessly. The conscious mind thinks it creates, but the patterns were already aligned. Time is not linear. The system acts as though all moments coexist, mixing memory, instinct, and foresight in ways that feel mysterious. Recognition happens before explanation and prediction before decision. Even intuition is a product of this. You may make a choice, sense a danger, or feel attraction instantly. You may call it gut feeling, sudden insight, or foresight. Yet the signal originates in layers that stretch backward and forward, connecting experiences, patterns, and probabilities that you cannot name. Time is not a straight line here. The subconscious jumps, folds, and overlaps, allowing reactions to appear in the present that were shaped long before the conscious moment. Awareness always arrives late. Even habits are influenced by this temporal flow. You repeat actions not because you are thinking about the past consciously, but because the body and mind recognize patterns that span time. You adjust movements, align gestures, and anticipate sequences without effort. The repetition of moments trains the system to respond as though all time is accessible at once. You act in the present, but the actions are informed by echoes of the past and hints of what might come. The now is only a small point in a vast continuum that exists beneath awareness. Even perception of risk is shaped this way. You sense danger in a room, hesitation in a conversation, or caution in a movement before consciously naming the threat. The subconscious links past experiences with present cues instantly, weighing probabilities and outcomes without thought. Time is collapsed. Sequence is irrelevant. You react in ways that appear immediate but are the result of a system that spans moments invisible to consciousness. Recognition is timeless. Prediction is instantaneous. Even memory of people and places operates outside linear time. A face may feel familiar, a street may feel known, or a voice may resonate instantly. The mind interprets the recognition as memory, but the signal is formed in a space where years, weeks, or days do not exist sequentially. Familiarity is a network, a pattern that connects events across time without chronology. You feel certainty, comfort, or caution before thought begins. The system responds first, the mind explains later. Even sensory impressions are affected by this. A touch, a sound, a smell may trigger immediate responses that seem disproportionate. The subconscious has connected them to patterns from the past, aligned them with possible futures, and prepared reactions without asking for conscious input. Time bends. The present is shaped by echoes and probabilities. You feel reactions without understanding their source. They are instantaneous intersections of past and future, collapsing into the moment you experience. Even problem-solving unfolds in this timeless space. Your mind seems to generate solutions suddenly, yet they are constructed from layers of past experience, subtle cues from the present, and potential outcomes that exist only as possibilities. The subconscious navigates this temporal landscape effortlessly, retrieving, aligning, and presenting before conscious thought intervenes. Awareness is a late interpreter, a translator arriving after the system has already acted. Even emotional healing follows this pattern. Experiences long buried can resurface suddenly, triggered by a small cue in the present. You may feel grief, joy, or tension that seems unrelated to now. The subconscious pulls threads from the past, links them with present signals, and allows the body and mind to respond in real time. Time is not a straight line. It is a web, a mesh of experiences and predictions that folds and overlaps beneath consciousness. Reactions feel immediate, yet they are echoes of moments that exist across a silent continuum. Even dreams are shaped by this distortion. Scenes can blend past, present, and imagined futures seamlessly. You may experience events that never occurred, yet they feel familiar. Your body responds as if the events were real, guided by memory and patterning that ignores chronology. Time inside dreams is like time inside the subconscious, fluid, overlapping, and without strict order. Recognition happens first. Understanding arrives afterward. Even anticipation works in the same way. You may sense a pause, a tension, or a hint of what is coming without knowing why. The subconscious has already aligned patterns from past experiences and present cues to predict outcomes. The conscious mind experiences only the effect, as if it were sudden. Time collapses. The moment you think you are responding is already informed by events that have not yet fully entered awareness. Awareness is late, recognition is first, and prediction feels like instinct. Even the sense of now is misleading. The subconscious does not experience it. There is no pure present. Every response, every feeling, every recognition is shaped by patterns across past, present, and future, intertwined into a continuous flow. You may feel a moment as immediate, yet it has already been shaped by countless influences spanning time you do not notice. Awareness labels it now, but inside, the system operates timelessly. You act in the present, but the present has already been formed by what came before and what might come next. Even decision-making is a product of this. You weigh options, sense attraction or repulsion, hesitate or act. The signals guiding these choices come from a network where time is folded, not linear. Past experiences echo instantly. Present cues resonate. Probabilities stretch forward. You feel decisions arise in the moment, yet they are already mapped by a system that never experiences now. Conscious thought interprets afterward, explaining what the subconscious has already performed perfectly. Even awareness itself seems to follow time, but the subconscious shows its illusion. Events, reactions, and perceptions are aligned, connected, and predicted before you can name them. The past reaches into the present echoes the future, and the mind experiences only the tip of the continuum. Recognition precedes understanding. Response precedes thought. The now is a thin slice in a vast, timeless landscape that the subconscious navigates constantly, silently, invisibly, without pause or error. And as you sense this, a strange realization emerges. The subconscious is never in the present. It does not experience now. It exists in a space where all time overlaps, reacts, and aligns simultaneously. It guides, predicts, remembers, and signals before conscious thought exists to interpret. You are carried by it, moved by it, living inside its patterns without noticing. What feels immediate is already shaped by what came before and what might come. Time inside the subconscious is a web, a network, a silent continuum where the past, present, and future are inseparable, and where the moment you call now is only the shadow of a system that never pauses. The body speaks a language that the mind rarely hears. Every muscle, joint, and fiber responds before thought arrives. You feel tension in your shoulders before you recognize stress. Your stomach tightens before fear registers. Your hands withdraw before caution is named. The subconscious moves through the body first, signaling, adjusting, and guiding without waiting for reasoning or explanation. Every reaction is a wordless sentence, a message sent through posture, pulse, and movement. Even a glance triggers communication. Your eyes shift toward what is important, scanning the environment, weighing danger, interest, or familiarity, all before conscious choice. The body records patterns of alignment, pressure, and rhythm, and responds according to a hidden map of experience. Recognition appears before understanding. A slight tilt of the head, a shift in weight, a subtle breath, all are part of a system that speaks through physical presence. The body is not just a vessel. It is the first responder, the messenger of the subconscious. Even subtle signals carry weight. A pulse quickens, the skin tingles, a small shiver travels along the spine. You may not notice at first, but the body has registered a cue before the mind can name it. The signal may be danger, curiosity, or recognition. It may be attraction, hesitation, or memory resurfacing. Whatever it is, the subconscious has already sent the command, and the body obeys instantly, silently, perfectly. Conscious thought arrives only after the reaction is underway. Even posture reflects this invisible contract. How you sit, stand, or walk reveals alignment with patterns the subconscious has built over years. Small adjustments maintain balance, predict motion, and prepare for unforeseen circumstances. You may think you are moving voluntarily, yet the body has rehearsed countless sequences without attention. Muscles remember tensions, compensations, and flows. Each gesture, each movement, is an echo of the subconscious at work, shaping behavior and perception before awareness takes note. Even comfort and discomfort are coded in the body. A room may feel oppressive or freeing, not because the mind judges it, but because the body senses patterns of light, space, and sound. Tiny tensions arise, muscles contract, breathing adjusts, and posture shifts. You interpret comfort later, but the subconscious has already translated the environment into a physical response. Recognition happens in the body first. Thought follows. You inhabit a physical map of hidden signals, each one guided by invisible memory and alignment. Even fear acts faster than reason. A sudden sound or movement can trigger withdrawal, freeze, or rapid motion before you even comprehend danger. The body reacts according to stored patterns, instincts, and echoes of past experience. Conscious thought cannot intervene fast enough. Recognition of risk arrives through muscles, skin, and nerve endings before the mind labels it. Every reflex, every startle, every contraction is the subconscious speaking through movement, expressing caution, alertness, and readiness. Even gestures convey invisible guidance. Your hands may reach, pull back, or adjust without conscious planning. The body responds to alignments, probabilities, and resonance detected in the environment. Tiny corrections, imperceptible movements, and micro-adjustments reveal the ongoing dialogue between subconscious and physical form. You act without awareness, but every motion carries instruction, every alignment carries meaning. The body becomes the voice of recognition, the interpreter of patterns before thought arrives. Even tension communicates. Shoulders tighten, jaw clenches, fingers curl. These signals are not accidents. They are precise messages from the subconscious, transmitted instantly through the body. Recognition, preparation, and prediction manifest in the muscles before reasoning enters. You feel the pull, the weight, the readiness, yet you cannot name the cause immediately. The body records experience, predicts consequence, and responds, revealing the hidden operations of the mind through movement and posture. Even withdrawal is instructive. You step back, retract, or pause without thinking. The body senses probability, alignment, and risk faster than logic. You do not consciously analyze. You respond. The signal may be subtle, a slight lean, a finger tightening, a breath shortening, but it is precise, tuned, and effective. The subconscious communicates through the body and the body obeys. Recognition happens first, explanation later. The body is the translator of invisible knowledge. Even attraction and curiosity are physical first. The body leans toward interest, opens to possibility, or relaxes into alignment. You notice engagement before thought defines it. Subtle shifts, micro movements, and unintentional gestures convey recognition, desire, and attention. The body does not lie. It acts as a silent messenger, signaling alignment, resonance, and attention in ways thought cannot match. You feel drawn, interested, or aligned physically before naming the sensation. The subconscious has already spoken. Even practice and learning reinforce this contract. When you repeat an action, the body records micro-adjustments that the conscious mind cannot perceive. Muscle memory, posture, and rhythm store knowledge silently. Each repetition strengthens the dialogue between subconscious and body. Movements become automatic, responses predictive, and recognition instant. You may feel mastery suddenly, yet the body has been rehearsing silently for hours, days, or years. Awareness arrives after the system has performed. Even breathing carries messages. Slight changes in depth, pace, or tension reflect alignment with patterns of recognition, safety, or alertness. You may not notice consciously, yet the body adapts instantly to signals from the subconscious. Breath becomes a messenger, tension becomes an interpreter, and movement becomes the voice. You inhabit a body that is already responding, preparing, and predicting before the mind joins the scene. Awareness observes after recognition is complete. Even subtle touches trigger responses before understanding. A brush of skin, a tap, or a vibration causes alignment, flinch, or comfort. These reactions are instantaneous. The body interprets probability, memory, and resonance through nerve endings and muscle tone. Recognition flows first, thought follows later. The system is precise, silent, and invisible, expressing understanding through sensation and motion. The body becomes the medium through which the subconscious communicates with the world. Even anticipation flows through the body. You sense tension, readiness, or alignment before events unfold. The body predicts timing, position, and motion without instruction. You feel a nudge, a pull, or a shift before understanding the reason. Recognition emerges physically, signaling what the mind cannot yet name. Every gesture, stance, and adjustment is a wordless sentence, a response guided by a hidden awareness that is faster than thought, sharper than perception, and deeper than understanding. Even coordination depends on this hidden system. Limbs align, balance shifts, posture adjusts, and motion flows seamlessly without conscious guidance. You may marvel at skill or grace, yet the system is operating silently beneath awareness. Recognition precedes execution. Prediction precedes planning. The body is the voice, the expression, and the instrument of the subconscious, translating invisible understanding into movement. You inhabit the message before knowing it. Even reactions to danger are subtle first, then full-bodied. You feel a tingle, a pulse, a small contraction, and then larger movements follow. Awareness lags. Recognition is instant. Preparation occurs before thought. The body is the first to speak, the first to respond, and the first to guide. Every contraction, every release, every shift is the language of the subconscious, carried through the physical form with perfect timing. You live inside its messages without noticing. Even emotional shifts emerge physically. Tension, relaxation, alertness, and withdrawal express subtle recognition of alignment, pattern, and probability. Conscious thought names the sensation afterward. The body speaks first. Recognition precedes labeling. Each heartbeat, each breath, each motion is a translation of unseen knowledge. You inhabit signals before you understand them, and the subconscious uses your body as the voice of its hidden map. Even instinctive movements are proof of this contract. You reach, pull back, step, or adjust before thought arrives. Each motion is informed by invisible memory, alignment, and prediction. You may think you are acting consciously, yet the body responds to a hidden network of patterns laid down over time. Recognition, preparation, and probability flow through muscles, tendons, and joints. The body is the voice, the messenger, and the interpreter of subconscious knowledge. Even rest follows its language. The way muscles relax, breathing deepens, or tension fades shows alignment with internal patterns. The subconscious signals safety, completion, or alignment through the body. Awareness may notice afterward, but the message is already delivered. Recognition has already occurred. The body has already acted. You rest inside a system that communicates silently, invisibly, through posture, tension, and motion. And as you begin to sense this, the realization becomes clear. The body is not separate from the subconscious. It is the voice. It is the channel. It speaks faster than thought, expresses what cannot be named, and acts with perfect timing. Every pulse, movement, and shift is a message. You live inside it, guided by invisible instructions, reacting, aligning, and responding without conscious permission. The subconscious does not need words. It uses the body. It is always speaking, always guiding, always present, long before awareness joins the conversation. Dreams are not what they seem. They are not messages, warnings, or secret guides. They are maintenance. The mind uses them to sort, test and align patterns without needing your awareness. When you sleep, the subconscious organizes experiences, rearranges probabilities, and simulates actions. The events that appear in dreams are only byproducts, fragments of a system working quietly behind the scenes. The narrative that surfaces is rarely the work of meaning. It is the residue of silent processing. Even when you cannot remember a dream, work continues. Nights without recall are not wasted. The subconscious is still active. It processes sensations, adjusts responses, and strengthens connections. Memory is reviewed, probabilities are rehearsed, and patterns are reinforced. You may awaken without story, without imagery, without even the faintest recollection, but the mind has been at work, cleaning, testing, and predicting. The system functions independently of attention. Recognition is silent, invisible, continuous. Even the chaotic images that appear are purposeful in a hidden way. Faces, places, movements, and events in dreams do not follow logic or linearity because logic is not needed. They are byproducts of processing. Each fragment carries information about alignment, repetition, and probability. The body may respond as if interacting with real situations, even though awareness interprets them as fiction. Movement, sensation, and recognition continue, whether remembered or not. Dreams are operational, not symbolic. Even repetition occurs in dreams. Patterns of behavior, sound, movement, or space replay silently. The subconscious tests sequences, predicts outcomes, and rehearses potential responses. Your body, emotions, and attention may simulate actions you have never consciously considered. You experience the rehearsal as if it were real. Recognition forms in subtle ways. The mind interprets afterward. Memory stores traces, even when the dream itself fades completely. Maintenance continues invisibly, tirelessly, and without pause. Even improbable events are part of the system. You may encounter impossible physics, shifting spaces, or strange combinations. These are not messages. They are simulations. The mind is exploring patterns, testing consequences, and adjusting probabilities. Your conscious experience interprets the scenes as strange or chaotic. The subconscious does not care for narrative coherence. It cares for alignment. Repetition, testing, and correction occur beneath awareness. Dreams are experiments, not instruction manuals. Even sensory experiences during dreams are functional. You may feel touch, taste, sound, or movement. Each sensation reinforces connections between perception and recognition. The body aligns with sequences, practicing responses. You may awaken remembering a fleeting image, a feeling, or a fragment of movement. That fragment represents countless micro-adjustments performed by the system while you slept. Dreams are calibration. They maintain the machinery of attention, memory, and perception without intention or symbolism. Even emotional undertones are part of maintenance. Excitement, tension, or anticipation are responses to rehearsed patterns. The subconscious tests alignment, trains recognition, and calibrates response. You interpret feelings afterward, yet the body and mind have already rehearsed and corrected sequences. The system does not require interpretation. It requires repetition, adjustment, and testing. Emotional experiences are byproducts, not messages. The mind ensures efficiency in readiness, alignment, and recognition. Even the passage of time in dreams is distorted. Seconds, minutes, and hours are irrelevant. The subconscious simulates sequences independently of linear chronology. Reactions, alignment, and rehearsal occur in a temporal space that is invisible to conscious thought. You may experience events that feel prolonged or instantaneous, but the mind measures only utility, probability, and alignment. Patterns are tested across a flexible temporal field. Recognition and rehearsal operate outside clocks, calendars, and schedules. Even failure occurs in dreams. You may fall, miss steps, or misalign sequences. These are not punishments or omens. They are experiments. The subconscious observes consequences, adjusts probabilities, and reinforces corrections. Recognition forms in subtle ways. The body rehearses alignment. Actions are repeated, adjusted, and tested. You may forget the failure immediately upon waking, yet the system has recorded, corrected, and reinforced understanding. Maintenance is ongoing, invisible, and tireless. Even recurring motifs are functional, not meaningful. The same faces, locations, or actions may reappear, but not to convey messages. They are repetitions, tools for alignment, tests for pattern recognition. The system rehearses responses, strengthens connections, and calibrates reactions. Conscious interpretation is optional. Awareness may create narrative after the fact, but the work occurs silently, independently, and continuously. The subconscious is performing maintenance whether the mind notices or not. Even dreams influence waking perception without explanation. When you move, react, or adjust during the day, it may feel intuitive. These responses are often rehearsed while dreaming. Patterns, probabilities, and sequences tested in sleep are applied automatically. Recognition occurs first. Action follows. The subconscious has already processed the situation, trained the body, and calibrated reaction. Dreams are laboratories where the machinery of thought, movement, and recognition is maintained. The mind interprets the results afterward. Even interactions in dreams simulate reality. Conversations, movements, and reactions test alignment and prediction. Faces may speak without words. Actions may occur without intention, yet the system is refining recognition. The subconscious rehearses the responses needed in waking life. You may forget entirely upon waking. The memory of the simulation may vanish, yet the rehearsal has already strengthened understanding, refined action, and aligned prediction. Maintenance continues invisibly, perfectly, and ceaselessly. Even sensation without context is functional. You may feel floating, flying, or falling. These sensations calibrate body awareness, balance, and expectation. Recognition forms through alignment and adjustment. The subconscious tests limits, responses, and adaptation. Conscious thought labels it fantasy, yet the body has already recorded adjustments and the mind has already processed probability. Dreams exist to maintain internal systems, not to instruct or reveal hidden meanings. Even partial recall is sufficient for maintenance. A single fleeting image may represent countless rehearsals. The subconscious has processed sequences, tested alignment, and adjusted probabilities across hours of sleep. Recognition forms invisibly. Adjustments occur silently. The mind interprets fragments, yet the system has already completed its work. Dreams function independently of memory. Forgetting does not halt the operation. Maintenance continues, tireless, invisible, and complete. Even stress and tension are processed in dreams. You may encounter situations that feel urgent, confusing, or alarming. The subconscious uses these scenarios to test alignment, rehearse reactions, and refine prediction. Recognition forms first. Response follows. Memory records adjustments. The conscious mind may interpret fear, excitement, or confusion as narrative, but the system is performing calibration, not sending messages. Dreaming is maintenance, not meaning. Even learning from the day is silent. Experiences, sights, sounds, and movements are rehearsed in sleep without conscious recall. The subconscious organizes, adjusts, and aligns. Patterns strengthen. Probabilities are refined. The body, mind, and perception receive updates. You may wake with insight or intuition that feels sudden. It is the product of rehearsal, repetition, and maintenance. Recognition emerges before thought. Dreams execute maintenance without explanation or ceremony. Even dreams that seem random are precise. Chaos is a tool. The subconscious tests responses, simulates outcomes, and calibrates recognition. You may remember fragments, but memory is optional. The system operates tirelessly, aligning body, mind, and perception. Recognition precedes narrative. Rehearsal precedes recall. Dreams maintain, repair, and optimize, quietly, invisibly, and continuously, whether remembered or forgotten, understood or ignored. Even waking behaviors are influenced. Movements, reactions, choices, and attention are subtly guided by rehearsals performed in sleep. The system has already processed possibilities, tested outcomes, and aligned responses. You may interpret action as spontaneous, yet it has been rehearsed silently. Dreams are laboratories where preparation occurs without conscious awareness, and recognition flows effortlessly into waking life. And as you begin to sense the truth, a quiet understanding forms. Dreams are maintenance, not messages. They continue regardless of recall, narrative, or attention. The system works tirelessly, aligning, testing, and rehearsing patterns across body, mind, and perception. Memory may fail to preserve the experience. Conscious thought may search for meaning. Yet the subconscious persists, performing work silently, invisibly, without pause, and with perfect precision. The dreaming continues even when dreams are forgotten. Identity is not a conscious creation. You feel it as yourself, yet it forms quietly beneath awareness. Traits emerge without intention, shaped by patterns, experiences, and repetition. You may think choices define who you are, but most of what composes identity exists long before thought enters. The subconscious absorbs signals, aligns behavior, and records patterns. Personality is constructed silently, like a building built from invisible bricks that the mind only later notices. Even before language, identity begins. Infants respond to tone, movement, and pattern. Preferences, hesitations, and attention are shaped by interaction long before words define them. Recognition precedes understanding. The subconscious records alignment, resonance, and probability. Traits emerge, not from conscious effort but from absorption. Habits, gestures, and reactions build silently, forming the scaffolding of identity before awareness labels it. Even roles are absorbed, not chosen. You may identify as student, friend, sibling, or worker, but the subconscious has already shaped behavior to fit these roles. Micro-adjustments, patterns of response, and subtle alignment form without conscious instruction. You enact scripts that were rehearsed invisibly. Recognition occurs first. Conscious selection follows. Identity is a continuous construction carried out by a system that observes, records, and aligns before you decide what you are. Even preferences form silently. What you like, avoid, or notice first is shaped by unseen memory, experience, and patterning. The subconscious signals comfort, interest, or alignment before thought names it. Traits emerge from repetition and recognition. You are guided subtly, continuously, without realizing it. The body, perception, and attention all reinforce the emerging identity, working in concert to build a self that appears stable but is constantly in formation. Even behavior is preformed. Choices in conversation, posture, and movement are guided by invisible patterns. Microexpressions, tone, and gestures reflect recognition and adaptation. You think you act voluntarily, but the subconscious has already mapped probability and alignment. Personality is expressed physically first, then understood mentally. Identity emerges as a result of rehearsal, prediction, and adaptation. You inhabit it before naming it. Even habits solidify traits. Repetition strengthens responses, preferences, and behaviors. The subconscious rehearses alignment continuously. The body, mind, and attention cooperate to form patterns that feel natural. You interpret them as personality, yet they were constructed silently over time. Recognition guides selection. Adjustment reinforces structure. Identity grows without conscious oversight, quietly shaping who you are before thought intervenes. Even reactions to others reveal invisible shaping. Attraction, hesitation, or avoidance may appear instantaneous, yet they emerge from layers of experience, memory, and alignment. Recognition occurs in fractions of a second. Adjustment follows. Your personality expresses itself physically and emotionally before awareness can articulate explanation. Traits are performed before they are noticed. Identity is constructed from these silent interactions, absorbed without instruction. Even fear and comfort sculpt identity. Responses to risk, safety, and environment are encoded through repetition and recognition. Micro-adjustments, tension, and alignment form patterns that later manifest as confidence, caution, or openness. You may feel your identity is stable, yet it is a constantly shifting result of countless silent rehearsals, adaptations, and alignments performed by the subconscious. The self exists as a living pattern, not a consciously designed concept. Even memory contributes to the hidden architecture. Recollections are filtered, reinforced, and connected by the subconscious, shaping traits without notice. Recognition and alignment influence reactions before understanding. Personality traits, curiosity, caution, empathy, or detachment, emerge from these patterns. You interpret consistency as conscious choice, yet the formation is invisible. Identity is the echo of memory shaped, adjusted, and expressed before thought intervenes. Even social scripts reinforce formation. Behavior in families, workplaces, and communities is guided by patterns learned silently. Micro-behaviors, timing, and tone adjust to align with expectation. Recognition and adaptation occur in fractions of a second. The subconscious records and strengthens these sequences, embedding them into the emerging self. Roles, preferences, and reactions consolidate into traits that appear innate, though they are carefully rehearsed by invisible processes. Even imagination is influenced. Fantasies, anticipations, and daydreams subtly reinforce patterns. Recognition of possibilities, alignment with potential outcomes, and rehearsal of behavior-shaped traits. You may notice interests, desires, or styles, yet they were shaped by silent rehearsal. The subconscious applies alignment, testing, and repetition, forming identity quietly. What feels spontaneous is constructed. You inhabit patterns that have been rehearsed invisibly for years. Even micro-adjustments matter. How you tilt your head, shift weight, or position your hands communicates alignment with self-concept. These gestures, rehearsed repeatedly, reinforce the emerging identity. Recognition occurs first, action follows. Personality is performed physically and emotionally before awareness articulates it. The subconscious is the silent architect, and the body is its instrument. Identity is observed, not chosen. Even responses to stress shape traits. Habits of coping, tension, and adaptation are recorded and reinforced without conscious input. Recognition of risk, anticipation of outcomes, and rehearsal of alignment shape responses. Over time, traits like patience, caution, or decisiveness are silently constructed. Conscious thought interprets the traits as choices, yet they are the product of continuous rehearsal, invisible calibration, and silent adaptation. Even attention reinforces the system. What you notice, focus on, or react to strengthens patterns that form identity. Subtle recognition, alignment, and rehearsal guide preferences and behaviors. Over time, these reinforced patterns shape traits and tendencies. Identity emerges quietly as a map of repeated adjustments, silent rehearsals, and invisible alignments. Awareness observes afterward, interpreting the system as conscious design, yet the formation occurred invisibly. Even self-perception is a product of rehearsal. You think of yourself in certain ways because the subconscious has guided perception, reaction, and interpretation over time. Recognition of alignment occurs first. Traits form from repeated patterns of interaction, response, and attention. Conscious thought labels identity, yet the construction was silent, invisible, and ongoing. Personality is lived before it is named. You are inside a system shaping itself continuously. Even contradictions are part of the pattern. Conflicting tendencies, habits, and reactions coexist because the subconscious prioritizes alignment, prediction, and recognition over consistency. Identity is not uniform. It is a web of patterns, a network of rehearsed sequences and responses. Conscious thought interprets coherence afterward, but the subconscious creates functional, complex patterns before understanding exists. The self is constructed from overlapping, silent rehearsals. Even intuition shapes identity. Gut feelings, rapid judgments, and instant preferences influence behavior and reinforce patterns. Recognition occurs physically, emotionally, and mentally before awareness labels it. Personality expresses itself in these preconscious responses, forming traits without instruction. Identity is an effect of silent influence, rehearsal, and alignment rather than conscious design. You are guided, shaped, and expressed before you even notice. Even habits of perception form traits. What you notice, ignore, or react to repeatedly strengthens personality patterns. Subtle recognition, rehearsal, and alignment build traits that appear innate. Awareness observes patterns as if chosen, yet they were rehearsed invisibly over time. Identity is the result of continuous adjustment, silent learning, and preconscious alignment. Personality emerges quietly as a reflection of what has been absorbed, performed, and recognized before thought. Even consistency is constructed. Traits appear stable because rehearsal reinforces alignment. Recognition, adaptation, and repetition form behaviors that solidify tendencies. Conscious thought interprets the pattern as intentional, but the subconscious has been performing alignment silently for years. Identity emerges as a living, evolving system, experienced and inhabited before it is named or understood. Even choice itself is shaped by unseen forces. You may believe decisions define identity, yet the subconscious has already guided attention, preference, and reaction. Recognition occurs first. Rehearsal follows. Patterns consolidate into traits. Conscious decision interprets the result, unaware of the hidden architecture that already determined the outcome. You are living inside a system shaping who you are without asking permission. And as you sense this, it becomes clear. Identity is not chosen. It is absorbed, rehearsed, aligned, and performed. Traits form silently, Roles are taken without consent, and behavior is shaped before awareness arrives. The subconscious constructs a self that you inhabit, perform, and recognize, yet never consciously designed. Identity is something that happens to you, quietly, invisibly, continuously, beneath the surface of thought. You live it before you even notice. The subconscious does not stop with yourself. It stretches outward, shaping how you interact with the world and the people around you. Every presence you encounter is filtered through invisible signals that the mind barely notices. A glance, a posture, a pause, or a tone carries information before words appear. Recognition occurs first. Conscious thought arrives afterward, interpreting signals that were already sent and received. The connections you feel are often subconscious, invisible, and immediate. Even silence speaks. A quiet room, a pause in conversation, or a subtle hesitation transmits information. People notice more than they can name. Their body responds, attention shifts, and alignment occurs without awareness. Familiarity, attraction, or avoidance is registered in fractions of a second. The subconscious reads tone, timing, and energy, predicting patterns and guiding responses. What you feel as comfort or unease is often the result of invisible dialogue happening beneath thought. Even posture communicates. How someone stands, sits, or moves conveys alignment and intention long before words can. You may feel drawn to a person without understanding why. Recognition occurs in the body first, registering signals of experience, repetition, and memory. Micro-adjustments in stance, gesture, and expression guide responses, shaping perception and behavior. Subtle influence is constant, invisible, and relentless. Even tone carries invisible weight. A rise or fall, a pause, a shift in pitch sends information about intent, attention, and alignment. The subconscious interprets these cues instantly. You may sense agreement, hesitation, or dominance before the conversation proceeds. Recognition happens in microseconds. Understanding follows later. People communicate constantly, and the messages are as much physical and tonal as they are verbal. The mind records, reacts, and aligns silently. Even first impressions are built from invisible signals. When you meet someone, their presence, movement, and energy register before names, stories, or appearances. You may feel familiarity or distance immediately. That feeling is the subconscious mapping alignment, memory, and probability. Reactions arise before conscious recognition. Connections are formed silently. Trust, curiosity, and attraction emerge from rehearsed recognition, invisible signals, and subtle interaction long before awareness participates. Even gestures carry weight. A hand lifted slightly, a shift of gaze, a subtle nod. These are invisible instructions to the subconscious. Recognition is instant. You may not understand why you lean in, relax, or hesitate, but the body already has. Micro-adjustments reinforce alignment. Personality, experience, and memory shape the signals, and the subconscious reads them instantly. Influence is transmitted silently, shaping interaction without instruction or awareness. Even memory influences perception. Past encounters, familiar tones, or repeated gestures guide alignment in new meetings. The subconscious compares patterns, matching signals from previous experience. Recognition occurs physically and emotionally before words confirm it. Familiarity feels instant, yet it is a reflection of alignment, memory, and rehearsal. The mind interprets afterward, but the message has already been received. Communication flows continuously, silently, invisibly. Even energy and attention matter. The direction of focus, the subtle pull of gaze, and the presence in space signal alignment and probability. People respond without knowing. Comfort, curiosity, attraction, and hesitation are first sensed, then interpreted. Microshifts communicate long before language arrives. The subconscious is constantly sending, receiving, and interpreting, creating a hidden network of influence that shapes interactions without thought or intention. Even repeated exposure builds silent recognition. Seeing the same gestures, hearing the same tone, or noticing familiar patterns primes perception. The subconscious adapts, predicts, and rehearses responses. Familiarity feels natural, effortless, and immediate. You may not recall why someone feels known or trusted. Recognition is a product of repetition, memory, and subtle signals. The subconscious is constantly calibrating connections, aligning behavior, and predicting interaction outcomes. Even empathy operates invisibly. You sense tension, alignment, or comfort without words. Micro changes in posture, facial expression, and tone guide reaction. The body interprets signals faster than conscious thought. Recognition happens instantly. Attention and adjustment follow. People influence each other continuously, often without realizing. The subconscious orchestrates these exchanges, silently shaping perception, reaction, and connection. Even alignment with groups is subconscious. Being in a room, observing movement, and sensing tone guides adjustment to collective energy. Recognition of patterns occurs first. Micro adjustments align posture, gesture, and attention with the group. You may feel comfort or unease without conscious reasoning. The subconscious reads signals, adjusts responses, and predicts outcomes invisibly. Influence flows in silence, subtly shaping interaction and identity in social spaces. Even subtle timing matters. A pause, overlap, or synchronization sends instructions without thought. The subconscious detects rhythm, timing, and alignment instantly. People adjust responses, shift posture, and align attention without awareness. Recognition forms before analysis. Interaction is constantly fine-tuned. The body interprets invisible cues. Personality, experience, and memory guide perception. Communication occurs in fractions of a second, silently shaping behavior and impression. Even proximity carries meaning. Distance, space, and micro-movements transmit alignment. Recognition of comfort or threat is immediate. You may adjust stance or posture without awareness, responding to signals invisible to thought. Subconscious interpretation guides interaction, predicting response and adjusting behavior in real time. Micro-movements create influence, and alignment occurs silently, continuously, invisibly. Even attention to detail matters. The subconscious detects micro-expressions, subtle gestures, and tonal shifts that escape conscious notice. Recognition happens instantly. Adjustments in reaction follow. Influence is subtle, continuous, and invisible. People communicate constantly through these signals, often unaware. Awareness interprets afterward, but the subconscious orchestrates interaction in every moment, guiding perception, attention, and alignment. Even reactions ripple outward. A subtle gesture, tone, or expression triggers micro-adjustments in others. Recognition occurs instantly, then awareness interprets later. Influence flows like invisible currents, transmitted by posture, movement, and energy. The subconscious communicates continuously, silently coordinating perception, response, and alignment. Presence itself becomes a channel of interaction. Even familiarity is rehearsed. Encounters, gestures, and tones reinforce recognition patterns. Memory, repetition, and alignment guide perception. You may sense trust, attraction, or unease immediately. The subconscious operates invisibly, predicting response and adjusting interaction. Awareness interprets afterward. Connection is continuous, guided by invisible influence. Even perception of trust or threat is subconscious. Recognition occurs in milliseconds. Body, posture, gesture, and tone transmit information faster than thought. Adjustment follows instinctively. Influence is constant. Signals travel silently, shaping interaction before interpretation. Presence becomes a medium of communication. Even conversation is orchestrated silently. Word choice, tone, pause, and gesture carry signals interpreted subconsciously. Micro-adjustments guide responses. Recognition occurs first. The mind interprets afterward. Influence flows invisibly, shaping interaction in subtle, continuous ways. The subconscious is always active, sending messages, reading signals, and aligning behavior. Even strangers communicate instantly. Familiarity, comfort, or tension appears before words. Recognition arises physically and emotionally. Body, memory, and pattern guide perception. Alignment happens silently. Awareness arrives later. Influence is constant. Micro-signals shape interaction, predicting response and adjusting presence continuously. Even group dynamics are shaped subconsciously. Posture, tone, gesture, and timing guide alignment. Recognition occurs before thought. Micro-adjustments reinforce perception. People influence each other constantly, often without awareness. The subconscious orchestrates invisible interaction, guiding attention, reaction, and connection. Even the simplest encounter is layered. Presence, gesture, tone, and movement communicate silently. Recognition occurs instantly. Adjustment follows. Memory and experience shape interpretation. Awareness only observes. The subconscious coordinates interaction continuously, invisibly, and perfectly. People influence each other without realizing. Even absence is noticed. Silence, pause, or lack of attention sends signals that others register subconsciously. Recognition occurs first. Responses are adjusted before thought arrives. Presence, tone, gesture, and alignment carry messages constantly. Influence flows invisibly, silently, continuously. And as you sense this, it becomes clear. The subconscious is not limited to the self. It extends outward, shaping connection, attention, and influence in every interaction. Presence, tone, posture, and silence communicate continuously. Recognition occurs before thought. Behavior is adjusted instantly. People affect and are affected in ways invisible to awareness. The system operates constantly, silently, perfectly, without interruption, guiding every connection and shaping interaction from the subconscious without words. Fear is not always a story. You can feel it without a memory, a reason, or an event that caused it. The body reacts first, sensing tension, readiness, and alertness before awareness arrives. Muscles tighten, senses sharpen, and attention focuses instantly. You may not know why you are uneasy, but the body already knows. Recognition occurs in fractions of a second. The mind follows later, searching for explanation that may not exist. Even without danger, fear is functional. It prepares, aligns, and predicts. The body adjusts posture, balance, and movement in anticipation. Heart rate shifts subtly, breathing changes, and attention narrows. You may notice only a vague discomfort, a fleeting hesitation, or a small tension in your chest. The subconscious has already acted, rehearsing responses to potential outcomes. Awareness notices afterward, trying to name what the body already understands. Even the mind cannot always explain it. You may feel cautious near a stranger, in a silent room, or at the edge of shadow. No memory connects to the sensation. Yet the subconscious interprets alignment, probability, and potential outcome instantly. Recognition happens without narrative. Adjustment follows. You respond, step back, or pause without understanding why. Fear is functioning silently, independent of story or logic. Even the tiniest signals can trigger alertness. A shift of light, a faint sound, or a subtle movement prompts readiness. Muscles tighten before thought catches up. Eyes scan, attention narrows, and posture adjusts in preparation. The system is invisible. It operates independently of memory, conscious analysis, or logic. You feel tension before reasoning arrives. Fear exists as a process, not a story. Even repetition matters. Previous exposure to signals, patterns, or alignment builds recognition. The subconscious predicts potential outcomes and rehearses responses. You may sense unease before understanding why. Recognition forms instantly. Memory or narrative is optional. The body acts first. Awareness follows, often piecing together reasons that are not necessary for function. Fear is a silent rehearsal system, constantly preparing, adjusting, and calibrating. Even anticipation without origin is common. The body knows what may happen before the mind can name it. Heart rate adjusts, muscles tense, and attention sharpens. You may feel a presence, tension, or shift in energy without a source. The subconscious has already aligned with probability, tested reaction, and prepared adjustment. Recognition is faster than explanation. Fear exists without story because preparation comes first and memory second. Even calm moments can hide it. In a quiet room, walking alone, or standing still, subtle awareness prepares the body. Tiny signals, pattern recognition, and previous exposure guide response. The subconscious adjusts tension, posture, and attention. You may feel vague unease, a small hesitation, or heightened awareness. No event or trauma is required. The body is ready before the mind asks why. Fear has no story. It is simply action occurring. Even sensory perception contributes. Light shifts, shadow movement, tone of sound, or subtle smell can trigger response. Recognition occurs instantly. Muscles adjust, attention narrows, and the body aligns with invisible probabilities. Conscious reasoning may never catch up. The subconscious records patterns, predicts outcomes, and rehearses responses continuously. Fear exists as preparation, independent of narrative or memory. Even social context triggers it. A glance, silence, or slight gesture can create tension. You may feel discomfort without explanation. Recognition occurs before thought. Microadjustments in posture, gaze, and attention follow instantly. The subconscious communicates through the body, adjusting alignment and reaction. Awareness may invent reasons, yet they are unnecessary. Fear has no story. It is functioning before explanation. Even repeated signals strengthen sensitivity. The body learns alignment, probability, and microadjustments. Muscle tension, attention, and heart rate respond instantly to patterns recognized unconsciously. You may feel apprehensive in situations that appear harmless. Memory may not connect, yet the subconscious has rehearsed probability. Recognition occurs instantly, preparation follows. Fear functions without narrative. Even internal signals create unease. Fatigue, tension, or subtle imbalance generates caution. The body reacts before thought labels it. Awareness may feel confusion or a vague concern. Microadjustments in posture, attention, and movement occur automatically. Recognition precedes reasoning. Fear exists silently, functioning as a rehearsal system, continuously preparing the body for potential outcomes. Even imagination triggers response. Thinking of unknown spaces, future events, or unseen possibilities heightens awareness. Muscles tighten, attention sharpens, and posture shifts. The subconscious responds before explanation. You may feel unease without conscious reasoning. Fear has no story because preparation does not require understanding. Recognition happens first, narrative second. Even collective signals matter. Presence of others, tone, or energy shifts influence attention and tension. Subtle alignment is sensed, interpreted, and rehearsed subconsciously. Awareness may only notice a vague unease. Micro-adjustments in body, gaze, and movement occur automatically. Fear is operational, preparing response before memory or reasoning can provide story. Even contrast creates alertness. Quiet followed by movement, darkness followed by light, calm followed by sound triggers readiness. Recognition occurs instantly. Micro-adjustments align posture, attention, and expectation. The subconscious predicts outcomes and rehearses response. The mind often searches for story afterward. Fear exists independently, without origin, guiding action silently and constantly. Even instinct blends with rehearsal. Micro-patterns of sensation, attention, and memory guide readiness. Body, mind, and perception align before reasoning intervenes. You may feel tension, hesitation, or heightened awareness without knowing why. Recognition occurs first. Adjustment follows. Fear is preparation without origin, functioning silently and continuously in every moment. Even subtle discomfort becomes a guide. Posture, energy, and attention adjust unconsciously to maintain readiness. Muscles tense, heart rate shifts, and senses sharpen. You may feel alert without story or explanation. The subconscious has already aligned patterns, predicted outcomes, and rehearsed responses. Awareness may search for reason, but preparation is complete. Fear exists without narrative. Even absent memory does not halt it. You may feel a tension or unease without recall of danger or trauma. Recognition occurs in the body before conscious thought interprets. Muscles, posture, and attention adjust automatically. The subconscious rehearses response to potential outcomes continuously. Fear is operational, invisible, and self-sufficient. It requires no story to function. Even the smallest hesitation carries weight. A pause, shift, or subtle movement triggers preparation. Recognition occurs instantly. Body, mind, and attention adjust. Awareness may invent a story, yet the reaction has already occurred. Fear exists as a rehearsal, independent of narrative or origin. Even anticipation without evidence guides behavior. You may sense danger that is not there, feel tension without memory, or hesitate without reason. Recognition occurs first. Adjustment follows automatically. The subconscious has predicted probability, rehearsed response, and aligned attention before reasoning arrives. Fear is a silent system functioning without story. Even relaxation reveals it. In moments of calm, micro-adjustments occur to maintain readiness. Muscles, posture, and attention shift subtly. Awareness may not detect the action, yet the subconscious is continuously predicting, aligning, and preparing. Fear exists as preparation, independent of memory, story, or logic. Even fear without story shapes perception. The body interprets tension, posture, and micro-signals instantly. Recognition guides attention, adjustment, and expectation. Awareness may attempt explanation, but preparation precedes understanding. Fear functions invisibly, continuously, and without origin. Even when reason arrives, it often invents narrative. Memory searches for cause, mind searches for story, yet the subconscious has already acted. Muscles, senses, and attention are aligned. The system works silently, preparing without explanation. Fear has no story. It exists as function, rehearsal, and invisible adjustment, perfectly, ceaselessly, and independently. And as you sense this, it becomes clear. Fear does not need memory, trauma, or story to exist. The body, subconscious, and mind prepare endlessly, aligning, adjusting, and rehearsing response. Recognition occurs first. Awareness may follow or never arrive. Fear functions invisibly, silently, and continuously. It exists without origin, without narrative, and without explanation, yet it is perfectly effective, shaping every reaction, posture, and thought before reason intervenes. Letting go is not a matter of effort. Trying to release, control, or force understanding only increases noise. The more attention you give, the more tension builds. Awareness tightens, focus narrows, and the body resists. Yet the subconscious has its own rhythm. It relaxes when effort fades. Recognition, alignment, and adjustment occur silently, without intervention. Releasing is a process that cannot be commanded. You cannot push it, only allow it. Even the smallest attempts at control create friction. Breath becomes shallow, posture tightens, and attention loops endlessly. Conscious thought searches for result, timing, or effect. The subconscious does not work this way. It operates in absence of insistence. It responds to ease, alignment, and recognition. Release is an emergent property, something that occurs when attention stops wrestling with process. Trying interrupts flow. Letting go begins in surrender. Even in stillness, the mind rehearses action. Thought clings to sequence, planning, or anticipation. Micro-adjustments tighten muscles and awareness hovers over control points. Yet when attention softens, the subconscious relaxes tension, aligns perception, and orchestrates adjustment. Action occurs naturally. Recognition and response proceed without instruction. The body moves, attention shifts, and energy realigns effortlessly. Letting go is observed, not produced. Even patterns formed through repetition relax when effort ceases. Habit, alignment, and recognition are rehearsed continuously. The subconscious does not demand focus or intention. It operates in silence, adjusting micro-behaviors, posture, and attention automatically. You may notice results appearing without effort. Awareness is free to observe rather than control. Release occurs because the system is prepared, ready, and self-guided. Even attention fades naturally. As you stop pushing, the mind softens its vigilance. Recognition slows in intensity but does not stop. Micro-adjustments continue. The subconscious manages alignment, perception, and reaction silently. Control is replaced by observation. The system operates without interference. Effort is unnecessary. The body, mind, and subconscious are synchronized in ways that conscious thought cannot direct. Even anticipation releases itself when focus dissolves. Tension softens, posture relaxes, and alignment returns to baseline. Subtle recognition continues. Adjustment occurs without instruction. Trying to let go creates resistance. Allowing release invites the subconscious to act freely. Attention becomes a gentle observer, not a manipulator. The process is complete without interference. Even control is optional. Breath, heartbeat, and posture are managed automatically. Micro-adjustments align perception, energy, and body without conscious direction. Trying only introduces friction, disrupting harmony. Recognition and rehearsal proceed unnoticed. The subconscious maintains balance, adjustment, and response continuously. Letting go is simply allowing the system to perform without interference. Even stillness is active. In apparent calm, micro-adjustments occur in posture, attention, and breath. Recognition happens silently. Alignment occurs automatically. The body and subconscious continue processing. You may feel nothing happening, yet everything is moving. Effort dissolves, attention softens, and the system operates independently. Release is observed as an effect, never forced. Even absence of thought is functional. When conscious effort withdraws, rehearsal continues. Recognition, alignment, and adjustment happen automatically. Muscles release, posture realigns, and attention subtly shifts. Control is not required. The subconscious handles preparation, adaptation, and response continuously. Letting go happens when intervention ceases, without effort, without instruction. Even tension is guided away naturally. When the mind stops gripping, micro-adjustments release constriction. Breath softens, muscles loosen, and attention floats without fixating. Recognition occurs silently. The subconscious manages alignment, rehearsal, and reaction automatically. Effort is a distraction. Release is not forced. It is a natural result of attention stepping aside. Even timing is irrelevant. Letting go does not happen on command or schedule. The process is invisible, self-regulated, and continuous. The body, mind, and subconscious adjust in perfect timing without instruction. Awareness observes a system operating independently. Release occurs as a consequence of stillness, attention softening, and effort dissolving. The rhythm is hidden yet complete. Even perception of effort disappears. As control is abandoned, the mind notices less. Attention floats gently. Recognition and alignment continue. Adjustments happen unnoticed. The subconscious orchestrates action without conscious interference. Effort is irrelevant. The system moves naturally, effortlessly, and invisibly. Letting go is a state of observation, not action. Even habitual resistance releases automatically. Tension built from years of control, expectation, or planning begins to dissolve when attention softens. The subconscious manages alignment, rehearsal, and adjustment continuously. Micro-movements correct posture, balance, and energy silently. You may notice calm, ease, or emptiness. Effort is unnecessary. The system is self-sustaining. Release occurs without instruction. Even anticipation of release is irrelevant. Trying to achieve letting go only creates friction. Tension persists. Breath tightens. Awareness loops endlessly. Yet the subconscious does not require intention. Recognition, rehearsal, and adjustment continue silently. Release happens naturally when attention ceases to push. Effort blocks what it seeks. Letting go is an emergent property, arising only when observation replaces manipulation. Even observation is passive. Watching release does not interfere. Microadjustments, posture, breath, and attention continue to align automatically. The subconscious orchestrates process without conscious instruction. Effort is replaced by observation. The system functions, preparing and adjusting continuously. You may feel calm or notice nothing at all. Release is complete, even when unseen. Even subtle attention guides without interference. Gentle noticing of posture, tension, or breath allows micro-adjustments to align naturally. Recognition occurs silently. The subconscious manages rehearsal and response automatically. Control is unnecessary. Effort only blocks the process. Letting go is an effect of attention softening, not of pushing or trying. Even energy circulates freely. Subtle alignment of perception, posture, and attention continues without thought. Recognition occurs silently. The body, mind, and subconscious maintain balance and rehearsal continuously. Effort is irrelevant. Control interferes. Letting go happens naturally when observation replaces manipulation. Even micro-adjustments maintain harmony. Breath, posture, gaze, and attention align without conscious instruction. Recognition guides subtle adaptation. Energy flows, muscles release, tension softens. The subconscious orchestrates continuously. Effort is unnecessary. Letting go is a result of attention softening, not a command. Even repetition of letting go reinforces the process. Each time attention fades, recognition and alignment continue automatically. Muscles release. Micro-adjustments occur. The subconscious manages rehearsal, adjustment, and preparation silently. Effort interferes. Release occurs only when attention observes without control. Even the self is absent from the process. Letting go does not require awareness, intention, or instruction. Recognition, rehearsal, and alignment happen automatically. The body, mind, and subconscious coordinate perfectly. Observation replaces manipulation. Effort dissolves. The system functions independently, seamlessly, invisibly. Even presence alone is sufficient. Awareness may notice tension, posture, or breath without attempting intervention. Micro-adjustments align automatically. Recognition continues silently. The subconscious manages rehearsal, response, and alignment. Letting go happens naturally. Observation is enough. Effort is irrelevant. And as you sense this, it becomes clear. Release cannot be forced, controlled, or achieved by trying. Effort only increases tension, noise, and friction. The subconscious operates continuously, silently, perfectly, and independently. Attention softening allows alignment, rehearsal, and adjustment to occur without interference. Letting go is not action, not effort, not command. It is the system operating naturally. The moment you stop trying, release appears. Effort dissolves. Observation remains. You are outside of effort, yet fully inside the process. Even now, as the video continues or pauses, the subconscious does not stop. It moves silently, beneath awareness, adjusting, monitoring, and responding. Muscles micro-shift, attention aligns, breath flows in subtle rhythms, and balance is maintained. You may feel still, even asleep, yet the system is alive and active. Recognition occurs invisibly, rehearsal continues, and patterns are maintained without thought. You do not need to notice, because the subconscious does not require permission. Even when you close your eyes, the body reacts. Heart rate calibrates, posture adjusts, and micro-movements maintain equilibrium. Breathing fluctuates in tiny shifts, inhalation and exhalation guided automatically. Muscles release tension in some areas, hold in others, fine-tuning energy without intervention. Awareness may drift into nothingness, yet the system persists. Adjustment does not pause, recognition does not stop, and rehearsal continues silently. Even when thought wanders, alignment remains. The subconscious monitors input from senses, internal signals, and patterns. Tiny shifts in vision, sound, touch, or temperature register instantly. Muscles respond, posture corrects, attention subtly realigns. All of this happens without command. Recognition occurs automatically. Action happens even when perception is absent. The system functions continuously, like water flowing beneath ice, unseen but persistent. Even when sleep takes over, rehearsal continues. The subconscious maintains rhythm in heartbeat, breath, and micro-movement. Micro-adjustments in muscle tone, gaze behind closed eyes, and posture persist without effort. Patterns formed over years, days, or hours continue to operate, aligning perception, energy, and attention silently. Awareness may not observe, but the system is fully active. Recognition, calibration, and monitoring proceed uninterrupted. Even when the mind tries to rest, the subconscious stays vigilant. Signals from the body, environment, and energy flow are registered instantly. Posture shifts, balance adjusts, and attention subtly scans without awareness. Recognition occurs, rehearsal continues, and subtle microadjustments maintain equilibrium. You may feel still, but the system does not pause. It operates quietly, seamlessly, endlessly. Even when external input fades, the subconscious finds patterns. Tiny changes in light, temperature, or sound are recorded and interpreted automatically. Microadjustments realign balance, posture, and energy. Breathing modifies subtly, heartbeat synchronizes, and tension is redistributed without thought. Recognition continues silently. Rehearsal of movement, alignment, and anticipation proceeds uninterrupted. The system never sleeps, even when awareness does. Even when the body is completely at rest, the subconscious works in layers. Muscles maintain tone, joints microshift, and balance calibrates continuously. Breath flows rhythmically yet unpredictably, adjusting with minute precision. Sensory input, memory, and alignment are processed without conscious involvement. Recognition occurs before awareness returns. Every micro-movement is a signal of continuous operation. The system is alive, even in apparent stillness. Even when attention leaves the present, calibration continues. The subconscious interprets micro-changes in internal state, energy, and posture. Muscles adjust, micro-movements compensate, and attention aligns with invisible currents. Recognition occurs automatically. Preparation, rehearsal, and response continue silently. Awareness may wander, sleep may deepen, yet the system maintains its rhythm, uninterrupted, eternal in its subtle activity. Even when you forget it exists, the subconscious monitors constantly. Tiny signals, heartbeat, temperature, balance, energy, are interpreted in real time. Microadjustments in posture, breath, and muscle tone maintain alignment. Recognition happens invisibly. Action occurs without awareness. The system moves forward continuously, silently, without pause or permission. Observation is optional, function is constant. Even when consciousness stops observing, rehearsal persists. Patterns formed over a lifetime continue to operate. Microadjustments in alignment, balance, and perception continue automatically. Breath flows, muscles shift, posture aligns, and attention subtly orients. Recognition continues without thought. The subconscious does not require acknowledgement to function. It moves and adjusts in silence, independent of awareness, effortlessly and endlessly. Even when external stimuli disappear, operation continues. Temperature, light, vibration, and sound are interpreted, guiding subtle response. Muscles, posture, and attention adjust without command. Recognition happens invisibly, rehearsal continues, and alignment is maintained. The system persists beyond perception, beyond observation, and beyond instruction. It does not rest, pause, or cease. Function is eternal in its quiet persistence. Even when you stop thinking, the system continues. Microadjustments in posture, alignment, and balance persist. Breath flows and heart rate calibrates. Attention subtly monitors environment and body. Recognition occurs automatically. The subconscious maintains preparation, rehearsal, and adjustment without interruption. Awareness may have ceased, but function continues seamlessly. Even when all effort and control disappear, the system is alive. Micro-movements, posture, breath, and energy flow operate without intervention. Recognition occurs without thought. Rehearsal continues silently. The body, mind, and subconscious remain synchronized, monitoring and adjusting perpetually. Observation is not required. The system does not pause. It persists perfectly, invisibly, continuously. Even when you drift into sleep, relaxation, or distraction, the subconscious remains active. Heartbeat, breath, micro-posture, and energy flow are monitored and adjusted continuously. Recognition of patterns, alignment, and rehearsal proceeds silently. Awareness may fade entirely, yet the system operates without interruption. Function is independent of observation. The subconscious is eternal in its motion. Even when time feels suspended, the system is aware. Micro-adjustments, alignment, and recognition continue. Breath shifts subtly. Muscles adjust automatically. Attention orients without awareness. Rehearsal continues without interruption. The system does not depend on observation. It functions continuously, silently, perfectly, even when perception has ceased. Even when all focus leaves the body, monitoring persists. Tiny shifts in posture, balance, and energy are registered and adjusted automatically. Micro-movements occur continuously. Recognition happens before awareness returns. Rehearsal continues, preparing, adjusting, and calibrating endlessly. The subconscious operates beyond instruction, beyond memory, beyond observation. Even when nothing else seems to move, the system is alive. Breath flows, heart rate aligns, muscles microshift, attention orients invisibly, recognition occurs, micro-adjustments maintain alignment, the system functions independently, awareness is optional, operation is eternal, silent, continuous, and seamless. Even when the video ends, the subconscious keeps running. Patterns formed, rehearsal ongoing, and alignment continue. Micro-adjustments in posture, breath, and energy proceed automatically. Recognition occurs in silence. The system does not wait for observation. Function is continuous, seamless, and invisible. Preparation, adaptation, and calibration never pause. Even when all else disappears, the subconscious persists. Breath, heartbeat, attention, posture, and energy continue to align. Recognition and rehearsal operate invisibly. Micro-adjustments maintain balance and function. Awareness may be gone, but the system does not cease. Operation is continuous. Presence is silent yet active. Even when you are no longer listening, the subconscious functions perfectly. Tiny shifts in muscle, posture, and alignment occur automatically. Breath flows, attention subtly monitors, and energy circulates. Recognition happens without thought. Rehearsal continues silently. Adjustment proceeds independently. The system is alive, operating without interruption, beyond observation, beyond awareness, beyond instruction. Even when perception leaves, the body speaks. Micro-adjustments continue. Breath flows, heartbeat calibrates, posture aligns, energy circulates. Recognition occurs silently. The subconscious operates continuously, invisibly, perfectly. Observation is unnecessary. Function never ends. And as the sound fades and the video closes, the subconscious continues. It breathes, adjusts, monitors, aligns, and rehearses. Micro-movements maintain posture. Energy circulates. Attention orients. Recognition happens without notice. The system functions perfectly, silently, and eternally. There is no conclusion, no summary, only continuation. The subconscious moves on, even after listening stops, perfectly, invisibly, endlessly.